Hi there, good morning, welcome to Prog Monster. My name is Murph and I am the host of this show. Okay, today we're doing the second part of my collectibles videos collection. The first one, if you have watched it or remember, was the one on progressive rock. Today's is on hard rock and heavy metal, and then the next one will be on pop, rock, blues, rhythm and blues, and all other genres related to my videos, which is this big stack back here. So today we're doing this stack. You can see it right here. Anyways, basically what this is about is that I've collected a bunch of stuff over the last 3 months, and this was a new video series, so I decided that there was so much that I was going to break it into 3 separate videos. The first one on progressive rock, the second one on hard rock and heavy metal, and the third one on pop, rhythm and blues, other genre that didn't fit into the first 2 categories really. Okay, so anyways, without further ado, we will get to it. Okay, so I've collected quite a bit of hard rock and heavy metal over the last 3 months. Not a huge volume, but at least a good 20 albums anyways. And I'm going to start with this one because I've been listening to it quite a bit the last little bit. And that is Defenders of the Faith by Judas Priest. Pretty solid album. Where'd it go? Oh, there. Pretty solid album. I've been listening to it. There's stuff on here I had already heard before, like Love Bites and Heads Are Gonna Roll and that kind of stuff, Defenders of the Faith. But there's quite a few songs in here I'd never heard before that I'm really quite liking. I don't know a lot about the album yet, so I don't want to give a blow by blow about it because that's a different type of video. Anyways, this is what the album looks like on the inside. It comes with just a sleeve. Oh no, actually it's a little bit of a book. It's not a huge book or anything, but it's not bad. Boys at the back, and then the cover of the album. Pretty solid looking album. I think it's pretty heavy too, which I like. So I will do an album look back on this eventually once I get a good feel for the album. But it's an album that I've had some dealings with in my life. I've listened to some of the tracks, but not all of them. At least not enough to give a kind of a review of them. Okay, so the next one up is this one. I got this, I've seen it. I don't know much about it other than I believe it's grunge. I don't know anybody on it, but I'm pretty sure it's grunge music, but I could be wrong. Anyways, it looks like a pretty decent cover anyways. I'm a bit of a sucker for covers. It also, like, it opens up this way. Pretty decent stuff in here. And it's like I said, it's a pretty decent cover, so I'm looking forward to listening to it when I get a chance. I hope it's good, but you know, again, you never know with these things. You just, you know, I got it for a fairly good price, so I'm not too concerned about it. The album looks pretty good. Anyways, and that's Creed. I guess it's called Creed. Oh, sorry, put this back in backwards. There, that's better. So next, the next thing up will be. No, that didn't go in right. Try it again. Yeah, so I decided to do these videos just so that I could review some of the material I'm listening to. People might have something to say that offers some advice about it, or maybe some experience with it, and that's what I'm hoping for. Anyways, there it is, Creed. Okay, so the next album up I know I'm gonna love. I love this guy with this band. I've liked him since a very long time, and one of the albums from this band is one of my favorites. So I'm looking forward to this. This is Black Sabbath, Dehumanizer, return of Ronnie James Dio, and I believe Vinny Appice is the drummer on this album, because it definitely isn't Bill Ward. Doesn't look like him at all. So anyways, I've never heard this album before. I haven't heard a single, well, to my knowledge, I've not heard a single track on it. Here are the boys. It's a revisit got together by Dio and looks like Vinny Appice, like I said. And I've heard nothing but good stuff about this. Cozy Powell did not stay to do the album, which is unfortunate. But yeah, it is Vinny Appice, very good. So I'm looking forward to listening to this. I think it's going to be a pretty level 1 or masterpiece type album. I'm looking forward to that. The other album was this one from Black Sabbath, Technical Ecstasy. It was actually, I believe it's the only Black Sabbath original music from the 70s that I don't own. I've heard varying degrees about it. Some people like it, some people can't stand it. But it's an early Black Sabbath album. I'm sure I'll like it. This is the book that goes with it. They give you a book with everything now, man. I kind of like that. Here it is. Anyways, that looks like it'll be pretty solid. Next up, this one, which was recommended to me. I saw it, I bought it, I listened to it once. It's pretty heavy. I wasn't going to buy it. It's Soundgarden, by the way. What's the name of it? Doesn't say anything. I'm not sure what it's called. Super Unknown, maybe. But yeah, it could be the one. That could be it. Anyways, I didn't know anything about it. I figured it's a grunge album, so I wasn't really keen on it. But then a couple of people said Soundgarden is quite a bit different than the regular Seattle bands. And I have listened to it in its entirety once. Pretty heavy album. I think it's going to be a good long listen for me. Again, it comes with a booklet, 4 guys on the back. His muddled cover. Just looks like a pretty solid listen, I think. So it'll be an album I listen to quite a bit. I have a feeling. Okay, now we're going to get into my next collection, which is 4 albums from the same band. We're going to start with this one because it's their first album. I got lucky and got this for next to nothing. And it's in good condition. I've listened to it now maybe a half dozen times, but most of the tracks I was familiar with anyways. Really solid album. Got some really good tracks on there. The Jack, love that song. And this one actually comes with a booklet. Probably wasn't a booklet with it originally. Just stuff on Bon Scott and how the band was formed and the different people in it and how the album was made, and it's another picture of them. So this has been a pretty solid listen to so far. I've enjoyed it. I'll do a review on this album eventually. But again, it's AC/DC's first album, so can't go wrong. This one is another AC/DC album. I'm not familiar with this one. I think this is Stiff Upper Lip. Yes, it is. Now, I've heard some good stuff about it. Pretty solid looking album. I like the inside cover. Kind of reminds me of For Those About to Rock. It's the same kind of coppery cover inside. Picture of Angus and his guitar on the front. So it looks like it'll be a pretty solid listen. I haven't, of course, listened to it at all, but I'm sure there's some tunes on here I've heard. It's got your classic AC/DC group here. Pretty solid looking. And most of their albums have a lot of similarity, so it should fit right in. I don't recognize any of the tunes except for Stiff Upper Lip. So of course, this album I got. I bought it. It was $10. This will be my 3rd time owning it. This is one of the classic rock albums of all time. It's a classic rock band. Great sound on this album. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Comes with a fantastic book, again, about the history of the album and the group. So, I listened to it once since I bought it, and it's in good shape, and it's brand new, actually. So, I'm looking forward to playing this quite a bit. AC/DC's Back in Black. Then I got this one, which pretty similar album, very similar album. The only difference is it's called Black Ice. I've listened to it once through. It's got a very similar sound to Back in Black, but I think it's probably a bit of an inferior album as far as that goes. But it's not a bad album. It's got some decent, definitely good tracks on it. Nice shot of the boys. It's an older shot of the boys. Album came out, I believe, in the mid, like around 2008 or something like that. So there we go. Okay, now the next band, I've got 2 albums from them. One of them I scored major. I got it for $1, if you can believe that. The other one, I paid a little bit of a price for it, but it was an album I'd had when I was a kid and played a lot, and when I saw it, I had to have it again. And that one is this one, White Snakes, Come and Get It. Some really solid tracks on here. A couple guys, Ian Pace and John Lord from Deep Purple in here, and a few other guys that Mick Moody, and so pretty solid group of songs. I really liked the album when I first got it. I love the cover. The cover's fantastic. It's got a book, of course, like most of them. Albums looks good inside. I like the. Yeah, there he is, David Coverdale, minus the blonde hair in this particular case. So pretty solid album. Lots of good stuff in here. Nice pictures. So this album, like I said, I've listened to it once since I re-got it just to familiarize myself with it again, and there's a lot of really good tracks on here that I liked in the day when I was a teenager when I first got it, and I know I'm going to enjoy this album quite a bit again. Anyways, my next one up is this one. Many feel this is their best album. John Sykes is on here. Neil Murray, Ainsley Dunsbar. This is a solid album. I listened to it once through and I remembered how solid it was. And, you know, 1 or 2 tracks on it that I could do without, but other than that, pretty solid album. I paid $1 for it too, so can't go wrong there. Okay, so now we're into some stuff that I am not familiar with at all, but have decided to try and listen to. And we'll start with this one. It's a Metallica Death Magnet. I don't know much about Metallica. I've listened to them a couple times. I know a few of their songs, the obvious ones. But I thought I would give it a shot. So I've had this one for a bit now, so I'm hoping I'll get a chance to listen to them. It's got some pretty, you can open it up in that. The cover's a little different. Gotta like that. Okay, and then this one, of course, everybody knows, A Master of Puppets, and I do know some of the songs from here, of course. But I'm looking forward to listening to these, seeing if this is a band that I could really like quite a bit, and I suspect that I probably will. And then there's this one, which I don't know much about, but pretty sure that I will get a good listen of all 3 of them. So there you go, 3 Metallica albums. This album I have not seen before or don't know much about. I think, yeah, it's got most of the original members. I just don't see the release date for it. 83, so it's in around that time period that I liked. I haven't listened to it. I don't believe I know any of the tracks. I'm looking here quickly. No, I don't think there's anything in here I know, but I love the album cover anyway, so I will get into this album and listen to it as soon as I'm able to. This one here, I don't even have it out of the package yet, but this is actually the second time I've owned it, so I know it quite well. It's a very good, solid Blue Oyster Cult album. Cult is an underrated band so far as I'm concerned. They have got a lot more love lately. More people are following them than ever, I think. And eventually I will open this and I will play this album probably until it's worn out. Next up, here's a guy who, you know, it's kind of funny with this guy. It's Alice Cooper. I was a huge Kiss fan in the 1970s. That's all I would listen to. And there's a lot of similarities between what he does on stage and what they do. I mean, not the actual shows aren't the same, but you know, they're theatrical bands, both of them. So you would have thought that I would have gotten into him back then, but I never did. I don't know why. It just never materialized. I did get an album in the 80s, one of those albums that he doesn't remember doing, which was Flush the Fashion. And I liked it quite a bit, even though I don't think it's really an Alice Cooper sound. But it was a pretty decent album. And now I've heard this one's very good, so I've listened to only the only song I recognize on it is Poison. There may be a few others that I've heard but didn't know their titles of. Anyways, I think it's going to be a really good listen. There's a book here with Alice in it. Nice shot of him there on the back. Anyways, I'm going to give Alice Cooper a try here. Not a bad album, I guess, to start with. Okay, so next up is another of these grunge bands, or not grunge, what am I talking about? Thrash metal band in Megadeth. I have listened to an album of theirs through and through, and I really liked it. This is not the one I listened to, but it looks like it's a pretty solid listen. So I will give it its due diligence. Pretty decent cover. Album looks like it's in good shape too, so we'll be giving this a try for sure. Next up, we come to an album I found at a thrift store that I hadn't owned by a group that did, had a 45-year history and released 6 albums. Pretty hard to get into a band like that. Their first album, their debut album, we all know is Boston, is a fantastic album. I don't know much about this one, but we'll give it a listen, see what it's like. It's got that great Boston covers, as they always do. I'm looking forward to listening to it, but I've discovered with Boston, each album that comes along is not quite as good as the previous one. And, I'm not sure why that is, but because it's the same guy doing everything, but it's the way it is, I guess. Anyways, the last group of albums I got as a package deal from somebody. Anyways, first one is this one, Kim Mitchell, Shaken Like a Human Being. Don't really know any of the songs, but I like that one album with Going for a Soda, so I'm sure that most of his stuff will sound similar to that. Another album by him I got as well, same deal. This one looks a little bit more like what I was used to. From '89. What was this one from? This one's from '86, so this one's a bit closer to the year I'm used to. And then, of course, this one, another Kim Mitchell. This one's a little bit older than those, like a little bit newer than those two, so may have changed its sound altogether. I guess we'll see. And then, of course, you gotta have this album, right? It's got to be in your collection somewhere, I would think. If you like Kim Mitchell and you like Max Webster, this is the album to get. I've listened to this album a fair number of times, but it's been a while because I haven't had it for a long time. But Paradise Skies, how can you go wrong with that? A Million Vacations. There's lots of good stuff on this, and during the heyday of the 70s and 80s. Great album. So this is like the end of the 70s here. So Max Webster's A Million Vacations, great. So those are the hard rock, heavy metal stuff that I've collected over the past 3 months since I started this site, and I just decided to do the breakdown on them. I hope you enjoyed that. If you got any comments on any of the albums that helped me out, that would be great. I would love to hear it. So our next video in this segment, part 3, will be on like pop rock. I think there's some rhythm and blues, some boogie rock. I'm trying to think what else is in that collection. I think that's pretty much it. I think those are the things I got. And there was some other stuff I collected too, but it doesn't relate to rock music. It's more, I like the crooners, like Frank Sinatra and them, and I have a whole whack of stuff I collected by them, but I won't be doing any videos on that. Well, at least not at this time. And so we're going to stick with rock at that point. So that'll be the third one, and that'll come up sometime either next week or early in the following week. And that's it. So there you have it. My collectibles for this installment. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you, if you like what I had to say, please like down below. Subscribe if you want me to do more stuff like this. I've got some other stuff coming up this week as well. I'm doing a new series of videos called the Fantasy Rock Band, which I'm hoping to do before the end of the week. There'll also be some look backs this week, 4 or 5, 3 or 4 of them I think. And then I will also be doing a top 10 of my favorite rock band, or one of my favorite rock bands, one of my group of 7, The Who. So I'm doing the top 10 songs of The Who. I'm not sure when these things are going to come out yet, but they will be coming out very soon. Probably before the end of the week, most of the stuff. Anyways, that's this is Murph from Prog Rock. I hope you had Prog Monster, sorry. I hope you are having a good day, and will stay tuned for my upcoming videos. And so you have yourself a good day, and this is Prog Monster out.